Welcome back to Theresa's Dead. My name is Theresa and I'm very much alive. I have an awful, garbage, filthy mouth, so viewer discretion is advised. But if you're not into that or weird shit in general, this is definitely not the place for you. Feel free to exit the video here. No harm, no foul. But I'll remember our time fondly. Oh, hello, my little chipmunks. I'm so excited to do today's video because sometimes I just want to turn into a little old man and I just want to raise my fists in the air and yell at some makeup products to get off my fucking lawn. And that's what today's video is all about, Charlie Brown. Ranting and raving about products that I bought that ultimately disappointed me. Some of these are old, some of these are new, but above all, I see red when I think about them. I'm also excited for today's video because I get to collaborate with the wonderful, the beautiful, the little tiny peanut here, Allie Dawson. We actually know each other in real life. I met Allie through my best friend Michael, and they used to work in Disney together many moons ago. And you know what's really sweet? The first time I actually met Allie, I went to Halloween Horror Nights with her and her husband Corey, and it was like a really wonderful time. I watched them eat pickles, I think. I think they were eating fried pickles and there was just people screaming in the background. You know, just a normal Tuesday. It was great. So I'm really excited to get to collab with someone that's really awesome, super sweet, super funny, and overall a nice fucking person. And she's also pocket size. She's literally this big. So it's even more adorable. She's kind of like Polly Pocket, Allie Pocket. Same thing. So if you've never heard of Allie, please definitely go check her out and tell her I said hi. And honestly, you know what? I'm really curious to see what's on her list. I want to know if we have any overlap. In any case, without further ado, this is the shit that I'm mad about. In thinking of just eyeshadow palettes, I have a short list that angers the shit out of me. So let's start with high-end palettes. My makeup dick was craving that Natasha Denona Sunset palette. When this came out, I nearly lost my mind. And I really thought if I didn't get this, I would be missing out on everything in life. And this was based on all the hype that was pouring in. So I picked it up and had one of the worst reactions I ever could have with an eyeshadow palette. And from there, my love-hate relationship started with the brand. My eyes were swollen, the corners of my eyes were like just raw and red and fucking crusty, and it was just so goddamn nasty. But I think the worst offender, besides, you know, having some sort of reaction to it, was the yellow in the palette. And that was the reason why I started my quest for yellow. It legit had no pigment. And I'm honestly just mad at myself for believing and getting talked into the hype and spending $129 on it. Also, you know, the Safari palette is a close second. That palette was fucking awful on a whole other level. And it's a shame because that color story was just so goddamn beautiful. But much like Sunset, it had shitty quality. And honestly, I guess I feel the same about the Metropolis palette. So the moral of the story, any palette that's usually $129, it's a very good chance that it's going to be the worst fucking thing you put on your face. And that's, you know, why I get mad at myself for falling into the trap, because I just want them to prove me wrong. Very seldomly do they do. Anyway, the next one I want to talk about is from Urban Decay, and it's the Stoned Vibes palette. I wish I understood why I thought it was a good idea to buy this. I know I talk shit about Urban Decay all the time, and usually how, you know, they're behind the times and they're struggling to keep up and kind of have been struggling to find their footing in this makeup market. And honestly, I'm just mad that I'm a part of the problem. I complain all the time that their shit is not innovative. Yet here I am buying yet another Urban Decay palette. And I think it really kind of just boils down to, I want someone to prove me wrong. Like, I talk all big and bad. I'm like, I just want someone to shut me the fuck up, okay? Honestly, for every good palette they release, there's at least 5 bad palettes that follow. And I think I'm mad about that particular palette because it was just so stupid. And the quality was awful. In hindsight, the only thing that was actually really interesting was maybe the outside packaging. That was cool. Everything on the inside was god-awful. It's just a shame that the inside of the palette couldn't match the energy of the outside of the palette. Ironically enough, I purchased the Cyber palette, right? And I was kind of mad that I still wound up picking it up because I was like, it doesn't look interesting. Why am I buying it? Yet here I am. But you know what though? I'm actually not mad about this. This is actually pretty fucking good. I'm almost embarrassed with how much I like it. And if you actually want to see me do a review on it, like, I don't know if anyone really has any interest because it's been out for a while now, but let me know down below. Just say like, Cyber me. Say Cyber me. I feel good about that. If you don't, I'm just gonna treat this like a shameful high school boyfriend, and I'm only gonna make out with it during my free period, so. All right, so the next one, I wanna be brief about this because I think I just spent way too much time talking about about these palettes. And honestly, it's because I'm an asshole and for whatever reason decided to buy them. And that would be the Hip Dot board game palettes, or like the nostalgia toy palettes, or whatever the fuck you want to call them. I knew deep down inside they were going to be garbage. And the only reason why I thought it would be a good idea to get them is because of nostalgia. It reminded me of a time when I didn't have to make so many decisions. And the fact that I was just craving simplicity. But as Pete Holmes says, being a kid sucks. Why am I craving that? Okay, what? I didn't have student loan debt? Beyond that, not being able to do whatever the fuck I want to do is awful. Why am I craving that? So, as I said, I'm kind of mad that I fell into this trap, in particular these products, because I don't even have any good memories with any of these things. Monopoly always ended in a fist fight in my house. Play-Doh was a fun novelty until you mix all the colors and everything looked like it was shit brown. And then you have the Ouija board. Bitch, I'm too old to have demons in my house, especially when the motherfuckers don't contribute to rent. So yeah, I'm mad. And I'm angry because I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know why I picked these up. I knew it wasn't going to be good and then I bought it anyway because apparently money grows on trees where I fucking live. Any hoosies. The next thing I'm mad about, and I don't even know where it is because if you could see in front of me, I have like makeup everywhere right now and it's giving me a small anxiety attack. But that is the Besame highlighter. And honestly, this is the product that stemmed the idea. When I tell you that every makeup bingo game that I have played and I have a chance to talk about the Besame Disney compacts, and for the most part, I would just fawn over how fucking cute everything is. And granted, listen, as a weirdo Disney adult that pretty much loves everything Disney, not every compact has been adorable, but for the most part, a lot of them have been great. And I have tried my hardest to pick up so many of them, but they always sell out really fast. Every time I try, I would get horribly denied. And honestly, that's when I should have took it as a sign to just let it the fuck go. And honestly, that was probably the best moment that I could have like broken out to let it go, but we don't like Frozen in this house. It's overrated. Anyway, so like I said, I should have taken it as a sign, but I didn't because why? I'm a glutton for punishment. So while I could never grab any of the Disney ones, I was able to grab the limited edition spider compact for Halloween. Listen, I hate bugs. In particular, I really hate spiders, but honestly, it's Halloween every day in my world, baby. How can I not have this? I spent $101 on a fucking highlighter, okay? A highlighter that I assumed was gonna have a special pan embossing, as seen here. And that's what really fucking sold me. It was a highlighter that could potentially look a little bit too dark on me, but the pan embossing was fucking everything. And boy was I wrong, because that shit is a plastic protector. It was so fucking flimsy that I actually lost it, okay? So now I have nothing. And to make matters worse, this fucker hit hard pan faster than it took to ship here. And it's funny because when you apply it with a finger, it has no fucking payoff whatsoever. But when you use it with a brush, you actually do get a nice alien sled highlighter. But is it my favorite? No, not by a long shot. So I'm mad at myself for spending so much money on a fucking sham. And honestly, I could really keep going on and on and on with this topic, but I'm gonna save it for a future video. But I am gonna end this part with talking about influencers. I fall into this trap every fucking time. And two influencers in particular get me so fucked up because I get excited and then I get disappointed real quick. It's kind of like watching an infomercial. For example, y'all remember the Magic Bullet? That infomercial sold me on a fucking dream where I could make 2 types of muffins, my favorite coffee drink, and use leftovers from last night's barbecue to make 60-second nachos. However, when I did receive it for Christmas one year, because I wouldn't shut the fuck up about it, do you know what I could do with the Magic Bullet? Nothing. I couldn't even crush up Oreos, okay? Like, it was impossible. The blade was so shitty, it just got stuck. You know how I crushed up Oreos? I took the fucking power base of the Magic Bullet and just smashed it on my kitchen table, okay? That's how I crushed up Oreos. That one year I was making Oreo truffles. So the following products remind me of that experience. I was sold a dream and in reality it was fucking garbage. Starting with Jaclyn Hill. Listen, her OG Morphe palette, like, it's still one of my favorite palettes of all time. It's a great basic bitch palette. And when she came out with the Vault, I lost my fucking mind. There were 4 palettes and I was sold because how she explained it was these were an extension of the OG palette, right? So these were the ones that didn't quite make the cut, but they're phenomenal. So as the reviews came pouring in, there were so many inconsistencies across the board, especially when it came to quality. It was so out of control that apparently they were recalling all of the palettes, sending them back into hell to be repressed, and then they would rise out of the ashes like fucking phoenixes or something to that effect. Listen, I'm just paraphrasing here, okay? But bottom line, they were going to be released and they were going to be better than ever. I think they kind of just disappeared for a week or two and then they just came back out. So I'm pretty sure most of them were like in the stock room of an Ulta, and then eventually they just like clean the dust off of them and they just put them out on the sales floor. Honestly, I think I'm mad at myself for believing her. And now in hindsight, I know it's physically not possible to do any of that, especially in such a short amount of fucking time. But like, she fucking sold me on it. She made it sound like this was gonna happen and this was legit and this is great and it's gonna be fine. She literally looked me in my eyes and told me, I love you. I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. Like, that's kind of how it felt in my weird, sick mind. But anyway, so of course I get the Vault palettes. I think I actually purchased them from Morphe. The Vault palettes were so bad. The quality was so terrible. They were so difficult to use. They were patchy. Everything that people were explaining in their reviews, I was experiencing. And from that moment, I really, you know, swore up any future collaborations. I was like, fuck you, talk to the hand. However, I'm a clown. We all know that because I have since purchased stuff with her in collaboration with Morphe as well as her own line. And thankfully, I've had a better experience for the most part. But when I think about the Vault, I still get visibly fucking mad about it. I just think about how dreadful my fucking experience was and how stupid I feel for believing something that was obviously not fucking true. That's on me though. For being way too fucking gullible, apparently. Listen, the other person I want to talk about is Nikki Tutorials. I love Nikki. I think she's fantastic. And please know that this is not a reflection of her at all. It's just everything she comes out with is awful, in my experience anyway. I know plenty of people that really love everything that she puts out, but for me, it's like, I get let down every time. And I think at the end of the day, it boils down to preference, and I just, listen, my body just rejects anything she puts out. That said, I could easily talk about that Beauty Bay palette, because it was a huge fucking disappointment. For a pressed pigment palette, the pigment disappeared. And it's to the level where I should put the shadows on a milk carton to try to find it. As for the shimmers, they were nothing more than glorified ColourPop Super Shock shadows. It was such a lemon that I'm actually still fucking annoyed about it. But I can overlook my anger. Why? Because of Nimya. Nimya was so much worse. Nimya is hands down probably some of the worst things I've ever tried in my life. I struggled and I ultimately decided not to do a video about Nimya because I didn't want to put that shit back on my fucking face. The best thing about the collection is the fucking fan. And I'm sure if I was still commuting, I probably could buy one of these off a street vendor and save myself $100. That said, the moisturizer initially was super comfortable, but then it created a weird barrier on my skin when I layered foundation over it. When I started to put foundation on, it created weird liver spots on my skin. No matter what foundation I used, I would have the same experience every time. Now, I thought the License to Glow serum was going to be fucking amazing. It was going to bring me hydration and glow. Instead, the serum dried matte on my skin. It was weird because it had the appearance that I had food poisoning, which, listen, I'm not mad at. I love that in the serum. But it made my skin feel so incredibly tight. And I noticed around the corners of my nose, my skin started to dry up. And then after a couple of minutes, I started to see white fucking flakes of my skin around my nose. It was so gross. I never experienced it ever with anything else, but that serum just sucks every bit of life out of me. I don't know why it was eating the moisture out of my face, but it was. And every time I looked into the mirror, I thought my face was falling off. It was fucking awful. And then to add insult to injury, the Ron Popeil Set It and Forget It setting spray was probably like one of the shittiest setting sprays I have ever used. Anytime I would spray my face, immediately it just felt tight and hot. And the longer I would let it sit on, I would just notice that my skin just looked so dehydrated and started to get itchy. So there's something in the formula that's just not jiving with my skin. So instead of looking like a glistening chicken, I look like a dehydrated carcass. And then you had the cooling stick, and honestly, it just felt so hard for the under eye area that I really started to question, like, should you put that there? Unless my skin is super fucking sensitive, it just felt like it was tugging my eye. Like, it was so annoying. Honestly, I didn't know if it was supposed to be for my eyes or if I should have used it for my calloused feet, because I feel like it would have been better there. But in any case, everything was awful, and I'm kind of mad that I bought it after so many experiences that I've had with her products, with the exception of her Ofra highlighters. Those I can stand behind. But everything else has just been so fucking disappointing for me. And yet every time she comes out with something, I just want to be like, yes, of course, I want to get it. And I hate it every fucking time. The only way I could probably explain it is like, again, like another high school metaphor, but it's like the boyfriend you have in high school. Like, you know he's cheating on you with all your friends, but like maybe it's all in your head. Like, that's kind of how I feel with Nikki Tutorials. Like, I know it's not going to be good, yet here I am, just wanting to make it work. Anyway, let me know down below what products make you angry. Let me know because I love hearing from you. And of course, please go check out Allie Dawson and tell her I said hi. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. As always, feel free to like, comment, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and hit that bell icon for notification of all my future posts. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, to all my beautiful, wonderful patron bubbies. Thank you so much for keeping this delicious, disgusting, filthy, trashy, really angry, really gross garbage boat afloat. Couldn't do without you, and I love your adorable little delicious faces, and I just want to gobble you all up. If you want to know what is currently on my face along with everything I talked about today, everything will be listed in the description box below. And I'll see you little pumpkins tomorrow. Bye. Bye. Sorry. But seriously, bye.